we're going to dive into the main story of today, and that is Shedeur Sanders making his first career NFL start after a quick word from Yahoo Fantasy Football. Guys, Yahoo Fantasy Football is the #1 fantasy football app, and fantasy season is officially here. Fire up the group chat, get your draft boards ready, and buckle up for a season filled with breakouts, disappointments, and overreactions. It all goes down on Yahoo Fantasy. This year, the UCSS Fantasy League is heading back to Yahoo, and you should too, whether you're a first-timer or a veteran making your millionth league. To celebrate 28 years of fantasy greatness, Yahoo Fantasy is dropping 28 big new features over 28 days, giving you more ways to play, more ways to draft, and more ways to win. All the fun begins on August 4th. Stay tuned and get started by creating or joining a Yahoo Fantasy Football League at yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL. That is yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL. Let's make this fantasy season the best one yet. So, guys, it is the story everyone's been waiting for. Shedeur Sanders getting to make his first start with the Browns against the Carolina Panthers tonight. And I am curious. We ask this question often when it comes to quarterbacks for the Browns in the regular season, in week 1 when they make a change. And, G, I'll start with you. Stefanski says he's probably going to play around 50 snaps. I'm going to guess a half. So if it is a half, what are realistic expectations for Shedeur, and what kind of things are you looking for in the rookie quarterback's performance tonight?
I'm not really looking forward to necessarily stats, like necessarily, those will come. But what you want to do with Shedeur Sanders is you want to put yourself back in a conversation, right? I've always said that the conversation is really not for starting the year off as a starter. He wants to put himself in a position to be the second guy off the bench. And to be the second guy off the bench, you got to beat, Dillon Gabriel and Kenny Pickett, who look like they're still ahead of him on the depth charts because they still got a lot of reps in the practices with the Panthers. So what I want to see is I want him to give them the ammunition to say, let's put certain things to bed. Let's put certain things that I can't get out the huddle on time. Let's put out to bed that I don't know what the checks are. Let's put to bed that I know what I'm looking for in the progression. I can get in, get out. I don't got no pre-snap penalties. I look crisp. We moving the ball downfield. I'm not going to just check it down every single time, and I'm going to take my shots where the defense gives me those shots, right? Because I've always said it before. Just checking the ball down is not what is going to get it done. You gotta show that you can make those intermediate throws, them throws that's 15 to 20 yards down the field with anticipation, footwork, and most above all, what I'm looking for is the major knock on Shedeur Sanders was out of college that he has a good arm, not a great arm. He's not the most athletic of guys, and he tends to hold the ball a little bit. So what I'm looking for is, can you get the ball out on time? And yes, you might not be the fastest guy in the world, but do you have functional mobility in the pocket, which is sliding left, sliding back, finding windows, being crafty, understanding where the blitzer or free blitzer might be coming from so you can get the ball out hot. We watched an example of yesterday where Anthony Richardson against the Baltimore Ravens, he gets hit, he's injured already because he didn't understand where the hot route was. The running back had his head around. He turns around. He's ready to get the ball out hot. Anthony Richardson is patting, looking on the opposite side of the field.
Yep.
You didn't alert that. So those are the things that coaches look for, and coaches are going to say, okay, those things show you that you are grasping the playbook and you understand what's going on. So to me, it's the small things. This is a small first step. Obviously, the process to continue to get better and better as you get more reps and opportunities. But this is a situation where you could put some stuff on tape that give you those opportunities to get the most reps. And I will say this and put a bow on it. Look, in football, I hear people talk about fair all the time. Look, football ain't fair. Ain't nothing about football fair. It ain't fair that JOK ain't playing no more. It ain't fair that people tear. I just saw the franchise left tackle for the Chargers get injured. This game of football ain't about fair. It's about what do you do when you get your opportunities? Because your opportunities come few and far between. Hey, whoever is the ones is in that huddle with Shedeur Sanders that day. Because guess what? That's how it works in real life. Yeah, you might have Jerry Jeudy slated to play, but guess what? Jerry Jeudy might be hurt. Jerry Jeudy could be here today, gone tomorrow. So I want him to go and take full opportunity of the reps he is given, and I don't care who is out there. It is time for you to take advantage of it, and you can put yourself in contention to catapult yourself to be in the conversation to getting more reps. But today is a massive opportunity.
Big opportunity. I think I don't understand this fairness narrative. Have you guys caught on to that? There's already this sort of campaign. Stephen A., I think yesterday or maybe the day before.
Stephen A. and Lewis
came
Riddick.
on, and I love Stephen A.
It's totally nuts.
I love Stephen A. He was here yesterday for NABJ. He's my guy. But Stephen, stop parroting other people's theories if you don't fully believe them, and I know you don't fully believe that. You hear things, and guys, when you have to opine on 1 million topics a day and you're not able to have the bandwidth to follow 1 million stories, sometimes you just dive in and see what other people are saying.
No, really, they talk about the Cowboys, LeBron.
Yeah,
it's not really
that's
1 million
true.
topics. It's
That's
really
true.
like,
They have about 5.
And now they got Shedeur.
They
So
play the
that's
Once upon a time when I was there, they had one topic, Tim Tebow.
yeah,
That was fun.
They play the hits.
They play the hits. And I felt sorry for someone sent me the segment from First Take, and right away I said, uh-oh, Stephen A. is going to go down that rabbit hole. And he said right away, they're setting him up to fail. They're setting him up to fail. And that's a narrative that I'm seeing more and more out there that is a little disturbing to me. You can't set up a guy to fail when you say, hey, here you go, you're the starter.
You're
go.
the starter.
Yeah, here's your chance.
And by the way, you're playing with the guys who you've been practicing with.
That's exactly right. I mean, these are the guys that you should have some rhythm with. You should have some chemistry with. So this whole narrative, and I'm glad you said football ain't fair. It's not. There are a lot of things that happen. There are a lot of things that happen in football that are not fair. But one thing that should be fair and equal for everybody is you should get a fair shake. Everybody should get the same look. Now, look, is Tyler Huntley going to make the team? No. Is that fair? Probably not. He's here. He's a camp body. He's, but that's the way it works. That's what you've relegated yourself to in your career to this point. I'll say this. What I'm glad of is that he is going to get the start in the first preseason game. And I think the reason it's important is because I have low expectations. I don't expect him to go out there and do what Joe Burrow did yesterday or what the Eagles' backup did yesterday. I don't expect that. I'm looking for the same stuff you're looking for. The big thing I'm looking for is timing. Jay, you know this. When you talk to guys that are in the league for a year, and you ask them, okay, so now juxtapose your first year in the league compared to your last year in college. They all say the same thing. Wow, the speed of the game. Yep. It went by me so quickly I didn't even know what was going on. I'm always fascinated at how these guys individually manage that. They know his dad is Deion Sanders, for crying out loud. He knows it's going to be faster. But how does he adjust to that? I'm really anxious to see that. I'm anxious to see how his mental clock adjusts. Some go too quick. They think it's going to be so fast that they're getting rid of the ball too fast. Mm-hmm. You don't want that. But the last thing you want is for him to hold on to the ball too long. Mm-hmm. You don't want to have an injury in your first preseason game. So I expect him to go out there, manage the huddle. I want to see a command of the huddle. I want to see you breaking the huddle on time. I want to see you picking up checks. I want to see you not throwing to your check down every single time and throwing the ball accurately and on time. If he does that, I'm not so much into the stats. I'm with you on that. They're a bar, they're a barometer to give you some sort of gauge as to how accurate he is. But I'm most interested in just watching with my eyes to see if it looks like an NFL rhythm. And I have every expectation that it will, just because I think he's got a grasp of things. The one thing that I would caution against, I know, Mike, you said you expect him to throw it 25 times.
That's going off the historical precedent that Kevin Stefanski has shown with younger quarterbacks.
Understood.
That level
I'm going to be
of play.
surprised if he gets 25 throws. I will. I'm thinking more in the 18 to 20 range. But one way or another, I think it's a great opportunity for him. If you're Shedeur Sanders, and even though you're a 5th-round draft pick, if they told you the night after the draft You're going to be preseason game number 1 starter. What more do you want? That's
that.
as fair as it gets. So
take that.
he's going to get an opportunity. The narrative somehow nationally has flipped. There's these odds makers. I don't put a lot of stock into this because I don't know where they're getting their information, but the New York Post had him as a 0% cut early in camp. No chance that he doesn't make the team. And I don't know what they've seen. I don't know who they're talking to, but somehow over the last couple of weeks, he's gone from a 0% cut to a 44% likelihood that he gets cut. So if you believe that, and I don't know that I fully do, then I think what he's fighting for might not be to be the number 2. I think he's fighting for a roster spot. Jay, am I wrong there?
No, I think he's fighting for a roster spot.
Yeah, that's what I feel he's fighting for.
But that doesn't mean...
Doesn't mean he can't win the job.
Correct. Yeah, two things can be true. Right now, he's fighting for a roster spot. If they only carry 3, I'm not sure he makes the team.
Right.
But I do think that they're open to carrying 4, and I think they probably will carry 4. But if he goes out tonight and does everything you guys are talking about, he's going to put himself in that conversation.
Sure.
To where, again, what's the harm in carrying 4 quarterbacks on the 53? So you miss out on the 5th defensive tackle. Okay, you're going to win 4 games anyway this year. What difference does it make? So I do think that I think he's on the team. I don't think he's 100% he's on the team, but I think he's on the team. And
I agree with that too. I think it's way more likely, and even by the Post's number,
by 44,
he's
it's
more
still more
likely to make
than
the
he's
team
not.
than not.
Yeah,
but I was
exactly.
shocked that they have it that close. To be perfectly honest,
I don't know where the New York Post is coming up with figures.
I don't either.
I guarantee you, the New York Post doesn't have anyone at training camp every day.
Yeah.
No, definitely not.
I wouldn't pay too much attention to that. I'm kind of with you guys. Mike wanted us to put numbers on it. I was kind of in the 14 to 20 range, 130 yards, 120, 130 yards, and a touchdown. I just want him to look like he knows what he's doing. Look like you have command of the offense. What you saw with Anthony Richardson last night that you don't want to see where, gee, you're exactly right. I thought Jeff Schwartz did a great job last night on X of saying, like, man, this is 101. This is blocking 101. And Anthony had no idea where the pressure was coming from, and he was looking to the wrong side. That's what you don't want to see tonight. You want him to get the ball out on time. One of the big knocks on Shedeur in college was he holds it too long. Yes, he got pummeled in college. Yes, his line was bad. But some of those problems he inflicted on himself by holding onto the ball too long, we saw that last year here with Deshaun, of holding onto the ball and being unable to make a decision. So you want to get it out fast. And with they're going back to Kevin's offense, they're going to run the ball, they're going to play defense, and you're going to take deep shots on 3rd down off play action. Now, are we going to see that tonight? That's what I'm curious to see.
Right.
Do you look at tonight as an opportunity to really kind of see what you have in Shedeur? So maybe you're going to throw it a little bit more than you would if this was a regular season game, because in the regular season they're going to run the ball. But again, going back to what G said, I don't want to see checkdowns. We saw checkdowns last year. We've seen a ton of checkdowns in camp with Dillon. I want to see you be able to throw the ball down the field. Can you drive the ball down the field through coverage? Can you throw guys open? So I'm really anxious to see him tonight. I wrote about it for The Athletic. It's exactly what we've been talking about all week. I wrote about it yesterday. Like, no, he's not getting screwed. This is exactly what he wanted. All he wanted was an opportunity. You can't ask for a better opportunity than this. Is anyone screaming about Riley Leonard is getting screwed in Indianapolis?
Right.
Or Will Howard's getting screwed in Pittsburgh? No. They're late round picks. And we keep saying, like, well, he's not a normal 5th round pick. He's not a normal 5th round pick. Okay, to us, he's not a normal 5th round pick. They are treating him like a normal 5th round pick. Right. This is how you will get treated in the NFL when you're a 5th round pick.
Sure.
And that's how they are. That's why they're behaving the way that they are.
How many times in history can you find, now obviously it's injury related, but go find an instant where, because teams don't take 2 quarterbacks, where teams took 2 quarterbacks in draft and they start the guy that they took later.
Yeah.
Like this is just, it's on a platter for them.
Yeah.
And it's not against the Philadelphia Eagles either. It's against the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, yeah.
And I know that we're going to see a mixed match and a hodgepodge of guys, but this is a team that he should be able to have success against.
So I mentioned this before, and I went back last night, and I should have sent you the video. I didn't. I don't even know if we could play it or not, about when Kyle Shanahan told Niners ownership Brock Purdy was the best quarterback we had when Brock was the last pick of the draft. It was his rookie year. It was after a day early in training camp. The owners were on the field and said, how's the quarterback looking? And Kyle said, I know he was talking about the starter, but I was so aggravated that day. I said, well, I don't know, but the best guy we've got is the 3rd guy. And yet, he knew that. He said that in July. Brock Purdy didn't start his first game until December of that year.
Wow.
Because they hung in there with Trey Lance, because they had obviously devoted 3 first-round picks and the number 3 overall pick the year prior. So you hang in there with him, and then you had Jimmy G. Now, obviously, there's nobody on this Browns roster who they have committed that much capital to. But the fact remains, you're going to go in order. You're going to believe in your process.
Well, next year there will be.
Well, next year, yeah, but I'm just talking for right now.
When Deshaun's back in the mix.
Well, technically, Deshaun is on the roster.
Yeah, but he's not in the mix.
But Deshaun's gone.
What happens to Deshaun next year? I mean,
That's
to me that's the big question, because
that's a whole different combo. I don't want to get sidetracked.
I know you don't, but to the point of they don't have anybody on the roster that they gave up all those assets to.
Yeah, but
they do, and he could be in the mix next year.
But here's the great thing. This is why I love football. Is because you can get rid of all that today. That's the reason the games is played, and the reason that the games matter. Because Deshaun's not playing. He ain't on the field. He can't affect the game. Kenny Pickett's not on the field. He can't affect. The only 2 quarterbacks that's going to play today is Huntley and Shedeur Sanders. And for all the people that support Shedeur, you got to think of it like this. If that's your guy, you got to know that your guy is thinking like that too. If you go ask Shedeur Sanders, is he being set up? You know what they're going to say? He's going to say, what you talking about? I got exactly what I wanted.
No,
this is like it's Pinky in the brain. They say, what are you doing tomorrow? Finding out a way to take over the world. And I got a new plan. His plan worked. If he got drafted number 2 overall, you would have said, you know what? He could start the first preseason game. He got drafted in the 5th round and still got to play. So now he's done this before. The questions have always been there. He went to Jackson State. When he left Jackson State and they played TCU the first game on the road, people said, oh, goodness, you got these 2 kids that's coming from HBCUs. That's not even MAC level. You think they're going to come in here in the big He had to do it then. He had to prove himself. They got smacked around a little bit that first year. The second year, they had to figure it out playing the big boys. Now, that's already in his back pocket. To any competitor, to anybody that just won a shot, outcomes are not guaranteed in life. You got to take your glory. You got to take what you want. You got to take wins in this league. So the only way we're going to get a chance to see whether or not, if you got the it factor to be the top in the entire game, quarterbacks is the top of the food chain. They have the most power. They make the most money. They make the most difference. The only way we're going to get a chance to see that is to put him with a level of adversity. And by the way, if you are a backup quarterbacks never take reps with the ones. But they are expected to come off that bench
and be ready
to go.
Yeah, that's football. I mean, gosh, especially with this organization. We've seen that a million times.
Be ready.
They don't even tell the backups they're the backups.
No.
DTR found out he was starting 45 minutes before a game.
Twice.
You talk about set up to fail. That
set up to fail.
That move.
No question.
And it was against the Steelers.
The Ravens.
Ravens, right?
Even more difficult.
So, Jay, real quick, I mentioned that 20 to 25 pass attempt number. I just want to give you guys the reasoning why I think it could be in that range. Like you said, maybe it's 20, maybe it's a little more.
Yeah.
This is since Stefanski took over as head coach. The amount of pass attempts backup quarterbacks have taken when they've played about a half. When they've played about a half of football, the amount of pass attempts. He's always let these guys throw. You ready?
Well, that's what you want to see, yeah.
DTR in 4 different stints. 18, 17, 20, and 25.
Yeah.
Tyler Huntley twice last year, 20 and 22. Kellen Mond, 24. Josh Dobbs, 20 and 20. Josh Rosen, 20. Jacoby Brissett, 23. Kyle Lauletta, 23, 23, 22, 24. And Case Keenum, 17 and 19.
Yeah,
this could be Shedeur's best chance
lab
to get full, extended, uninterrupted.
Right.
It is you and it is Huntley.
And
Let's
you know
see
it's
what
not
you
just
got.
a series or a quarter either. He's going to get a half. I have 11 of 19 for 113 yards and a touchdown. And if he pulls that off,
yeah, you and I were pretty close.
If he pulls that off, and I also think Kevin, we ran a bite yesterday on Channel 3 from Kevin after Panthers practice Wednesday, where he said, "We're gonna," and this is what he does. This is gonna be very simple. We're keeping everything very, very basic. We're taking the absolute easiest portion of our playbook, and we're giving it to him and say, "Go execute this." You don't want to overwhelm the kid. You want to give him just enough that he can handle it. And maybe if you feel like after one quarter that he's handled everything you've thrown at him, then maybe you can add a little bit. But Kevin is going to keep it extremely simple, and therefore I expect him to have a good deal of success. And I think 11 of 19 for 113 and a touchdown would be, if he can pull that off, I think that's a passing grade, and he did everything you would want him to do in his first big test.
My gut feeling is, I think just by watching him, he might be one of them dudes that, yeah, you see him in practice. All right, man. You see him. I used to think this way about Joe Burrow. Like, I'd be like, man, like, just watching him being in Athens and where he's from, I'm like, all right, man, I guess. I'm like, he going to Ohio State? Joe Burrow going to Ohio State? You from that? I'm like, all right, man. I looked at this tape, and it just didn't seem like it was so crazy. And then he got to Ohio State. And
Ohio State thought the same thing.
I'm like, this ain't even that crazy. But the thing about Joe Burrow is when them lights come on, it's different. Like, it don't, like, his arm strength, like, goes up 2 ticks. He's automatically faster now.
Is Shedeur that? Because I'll admit, I didn't watch every game. What was his performance in their biggest games? Did he ball out? Did he step up his game a level? Should we expect that?
I always go back. I look at the Baylor game. There's a lot of games. I watched the Kansas State game. Cincinnati. I watched USC. There's games where the Baylor game I would go back to and look at it specifically was they should have lost that game. That game was dead in the water. Yeah. They should have been lost that game. And he comes back and throws this crazy, miraculous Hail Mary when it's raining. And he just always seemed to be like, all right.
Is that the one they lost in overtime?
No, that's the one that won.
The Hail Mary won it.
Oh, okay.
The Hail Mary won it.
And how was Baylor this year?
Mid.
I mean, but then again, you got to look at it. Colorado is mid. I would say Colorado's roster, if you go back and look at it, they didn't even have any draftable players on offensive defensive line.
In truth, that conference now is really nothing to write home about.
It's like, but I say this, maybe he's one of those dudes, and I'm looking for it, to say, that was a different level of movement in the pocket, or are you better when them lights come on? Because there's some people that's practice players, some people is game players.
Right.
Like, I just think, if he can get to a point where he can make some, to me, I need to see 1 or 2 plays, right? Like Joe Thomas talks about. Give me 1 or 2.
Yeah, so you could say that's it right there.
Okay, that's a throw right there. Okay, that's a throw right there. Right. And then you can live with the rest. Like, so, I'm interested. And as for the fans, I'm excited. I'm excited for the fans to get a chance to see it. I mean, you're 3-14. You want a quarterback. You need a quarterback. You get a chance to see a quarterback play. Let's see these young dudes play, see what we got.
Yeah, I'm pumped too. I can't remember. I'm sure I've been excited for other preseason games when they've taken quarterbacks highly, but sure. I'm really, really excited, not just about this preseason game. I'm excited about all 3 of them, and I can't wait to see how this thing shakes out.
I'm surprised you guys, listen, I'm surprised y'all came in upbeat, man. You really, this is because you're not a preseason guy. You're like, forget this.
No, I want to see him.
That's
we all do. Gee, I think, and you guys correct me, there might be more hype, fanfare, attention, excitement about tonight than we'll actually get in week 1.
Oh, not for me, no.
No, I'm not saying for us and the diehards. I'm saying from a national perspective in terms of maybe looking forward to a Browns game. I think more people who aren't diehard Browns fans will be locked in to see Shedeur tonight than they will be in week 1 when there's other distractions and it's Joe Flacco versus Joe Burrow.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. For me,
for us, the regular season always trumps preseason.
This isn't even batting practice on the field before the game. This is light tee work in the bullpen. This is I'm excited about it. I can't wait to see what we have, but I can't wait for week 1, and I have a pretty good idea. I know what's going to happen in week 1, but you know what? And I know that people will look at me crazy, you've been a Browns fan for too long, your brain is warped.
I ain't gonna say that. Go ahead.
Year to year, we don't know.
Nope.
There are teams that rise from the ashes every year.
No.
Go ask Washington last year what they were expecting coming into last season.
They had a rookie quarterback they loved.
They did, but go ask them what kind of season they were expecting.
Yes, they exceeded expectations.
They were not expecting.
You think this team's going to the playoffs?
Absolutely not.
All right,
no.
I just want to make sure.
Hey,
could they surprise you and win 5? Maybe.
I will say this: the defense, rounding into shape.
There's playmakers on defense.
What if that defense reverts to the form that they had 2 years ago?
Then they win 5.
And what if you get one of these quarterbacks to stand up and play above all expectations?
Then they win 6.
Okay, now we've doubled our win total. We've gone from 3 to 6.
We're playing the record game, which leads us right into our next topic. So let me do a read-in.
Did you do a stat line, by the way?
No, I didn't.
Oh, gee, what's your stat line? Yeah.
Oh, man. So let me go. Man, let me go 12 of 17 for 152 yards. He's going up top once.
All right.
One touchdown, no interceptions.